Hi, I'm here in Ames, Iowa, and I'm Randy Abell, and I pastor Heartland Baptist, and I'm going to share with you today about the benefits of a great state fellowship. Hi, well, I'm inside now and off the snowbank, and I thought I'd start off some things about having a great state fellowship by letting you hear from a few of our pastors around the state, which are going to share with you why a great state fellowship is important to them.
Hi, this is Ed Matthews, pastor of Bible Baptist Church in Ottumwa, Iowa. I want to tell you why I enjoy being part of the Iowa Baptist Bible Fellowship. I not only enjoy the great pastors that our state has, that we can pray for one another and get together and fellowship with one another, but the greatest thing I like about our fellowship is the fact that we can do more together than we can apart. We help with missionary support. We help with Baptist Bible College projects, many throughout the years. We've helped with Baptist Bible Tribune. And I just like the fact that we can do so many things together that we could not do just by ourselves. So I know our congregation and myself really enjoy being a part of the Iowa Baptist Bible Fellowship.
I'm David McIntosh, and I pastor at Hillcrest Baptist Church in Muscatine, Iowa. The thing I love about the state fellowship is the community and camaraderie that it brings. As a solo pastor, I find those times to be life-giving as we celebrate ministry wins, but also we go through ministry difficulties together.
Well, good evening. This is Pastor Mike Salati from Carroll, Iowa at Bethel Baptist Church, and I wanted to just, first of all, thank you for allowing me a moment to address you, and wanted to answer the question of what the Baptist Bible Fellowship, the state fellowship, means to me. And I just can't say enough how thankful I and my congregation are for the Baptist Bible Fellowship. They have been our encouragers, our helpers, our supporters at times, giving resources and encouraging me as a pastor, and when times are tough, helping our ministry, giving us ministry ideas, and all the things, the fellowship opportunities that we have here in Iowa. I'm so thankful for. It's been a huge blessing to our congregation and to me, and I just hope that the rest of you have similar experiences to the things that we are able to enjoy. So thanks so much, and God bless you all.
Hi, I'm Pat Knapp, pastor of Westwood Baptist Church in West Des Moines, Iowa. I've been a part of the Iowa Baptist Fellowship since 2008, and the thing I think I'm most thankful for is the opportunity to learn from other pastors. Every pastor has something that he can teach other pastors, and we have an opportunity to bounce ideas off one another, to talk about things that have worked and things that have not worked, and it's made a huge difference in my ministry.
Hi, my name is Christopher Harris from Albia Baptist Temple in Albia, Iowa. The reason why I love the Iowa BBFI is for a newer, younger pastor such as myself, and being the only pastor here on staff, it gives me a network of men to go to seek advice from, to bounce ideas off of, and just have that fellowship that we all need.
Thanks for spending a little time with me talking about state fellowships. I want to share with you about my view of how we ought to have a burden for our state fellowships. So you think about what Ephesians says about how Jesus loves churches. And so if Jesus loves churches, surely we ought to have this heart that we love other churches than the one that we pastor. We ought to love all the churches in our state fellowship and all the churches in our state that are preaching the gospel and teaching the Bible. And so here's just something I've kind of learned through the years, and maybe I just say it now and then, and in that if we will love and take care of the things that Jesus loves, then He'll take care of the things that we love. And so what I find is that when I pour my life into and try to help and be a blessing to other churches, since Jesus loves those churches, He pours His love and blessings into my life. I've just learned that if I love the things that Jesus loves, that He'll love the things that I take care of. As much as I love things happening in my own church, I want you to know, I also have such a thrill and a joy hearing about how God's working in the other churches. in our state fellowship, and I think that every state fellowship ought to have a means that they're sharing those things. So we do through a state fellowship Facebook page. Every time we get together, we want something positive. Hey, stand and introduce yourself and tell us something that God has done lately in your ministry or in your church. I pray also, I just have a burden for my state, and I hope you do. And I pray the prayer of old John Knox all the time, where John Knox, of course, in Scotland, used to say, Lord, give me Scotland lest I die. Well, I want you to know, I pray that prayer about Iowa. Lord, give us Iowa. And I can't reach all of Iowa, but I tell you who can, the churches of our state fellowship in all the other cities and towns around the state. Something else I've learned that I think maybe will help you develop a burden to be a blessing to the other churches in your state fellowship is that spiritually sharp people want to help and serve each other. And selfish people don't. And so I don't want to be selfish. You don't want to be selfish. So spiritually sharp people want to be a blessing and help each other. And so again, it just goes back to what does Jesus love? He loves churches. So I want to be a blessing and serve not only my own church, but other churches and their pastors as well. And I just want you to know this. I know a lot of our state fellowships have a little history, and maybe there's been some awkwardness and some at odds or whatever. Hey, my state fellowship had the same thing. I just determined to show up early with a smile. And you don't have to be the leader to show up early, and you don't have to be the leader to have a smile. Just show up early, have a smile, have a great attitude, joke with guys, goof around with them, compliment them, ask them advice. You'll be surprised how that goes over so well. Well, I want to share with you just some practical things about maybe working on praying about a better state fellowship. And the first one I want to talk to you about having websites. I'll bet there's churches in your state that don't have a website. Maybe they're smaller churches, maybe they're out in the country, maybe they're even pastored by guys that don't engage with your state fellowship as much. But I determined that every church connected with the BBF was going to have a state or have a church website. In fact, there's a little video of my assistant pastor showing that off. So one of the things that we do for our state fellowship churches, this is Shane Rader, he's one of my assistant pastors, and he runs our state fellowship website, where if you're a church in our state fellowship, we provide you a website that Shane helps you build, and we maintain it. That way, we're guaranteeing that our churches have an active website, a correct address, a correct phone number, a correct pastor and name, and contact information. And some of our churches have never had a website before, and so they have found this a real blessing. Well, so you see now every state or every church in our state connected with the BBF has its own website. Some other things about state fellowships. How many times do you meet? I'm going to tell you, no more than you can have great meetings. So if you can have 10 great meetings a year, great. For us, because of our travel time across the state, we couldn't do it. We cut ours down to maybe 3 or 4. But then when we get together, man, we're just so excited to see each other, and we love it. The state fellowship funds kind of the under cost of some things. So all guys kind of need to do is just to get to where we're meeting, and the state fellowship helps cover some expenses. When we do meet, we really do try to cover some practical things. You know, in today's modern technology, anybody can hear great preaching anytime. Now, I'm not opposed to having a preacher in to give a great sermon. That's great. But sometimes, guys, they'll really connect to extremely practical things, like a session on technology, a session on how to develop a greeter ministry, comparing visitation programs, talking through in-church leadership training, some things like that. I also think that those in state fellowship leadership ought to be calling their pastors throughout the year. Now, some of you got way more pastor friends than I do in my state, but I can at least every couple months call every pastor in our state. I'm just calling to say hi and ask how they're doing. I want you to know, I think when you love the guys and they know you care about them, not only will you want to see them, but they'll want to see you. And then I just want to close with this. There's just nothing sweeter than being among the brethren. I remember reading the biography of Jerry Falwell. It wasn't written by a Christian. It was written by some guy from New York. But he just was astounded that Jerry shows up, and then the other pastors see him, and he says, man, they're just shaking hands like they'd been through war together, like they're battle comrades, you know, and they're veterans, and of course they really are veterans of the Lord's army. And that's how it ought to feel with us when we get together with other pastors. And I want you to know I love the BBF, and I just think that the great days are ahead. And I think part of that starts in our state fellowships.